Who's muted? I'm muted? You're muted. I don't know if you're still here, but hi, Shan. Hello, everyone. Hey, Christy. Hey, Rose. We're going to attempt to do another live stream tonight. Can't make any promises on how it goes, but we shall see. Hi, Loretta. I'd say happy Father's Day to any fathers out there, but if you're on the East Coast, then it's not Father's Day anymore, but still. And hopefully my microphone is better. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. I used it last night on a Zoom call and it was fine, so we'll wait for a couple more minutes and see if anybody gets here a little bit late. And there's probably more than likely not going to be any discussion about any of the drama going on, even though it does have to do with what what I've been saying for well, at least I don't know how many months exactly, but at least a few months. Hey, Shan, you are still here. Good. Hey, Irvin. Hey, Eddie. Yeah, me too, Shan. I mean, I'm not like a fan of Mark Twain or anything, but I felt like it was fitting for this case and for other things as well. Hey, Lola. Lola Roo. That's fun to say. So, I did, well, some of this live will probably sound repetitive, and that's okay, because I will keep repeating this stuff to you guys as long as it takes to make you, not make you guys see, but to, let's just say it's important. I don't want you guys to, I don't want to sway your opinions at all. Again, I try to stay neutral as much as possible on my live streams and in my videos, but the stuff that I do repeat is important. So I'm brainwashing you. maybe I'm using like some sort of reverse psychology. I'm like, think for yourself, do your own research, and then I'm like subconsciously brainwashing you. That's actually pretty clever. Hey, Tam Tam, good to see you. How are you? Long time no see. You're up late, Shan. How are the piggos? Oh, good. And there's not like a really bad delay yet. But like I was saying, some of it's going to be repetitive. The Frank Rusepp clip that I'm going to play, I did mention in one of my videos that I posted several months back. Like I said, it's been something that I've been discussing for quite a while now, that I believed was going to happen, or that I believe is one of the reasons for orchestrating this case, one of the agendas. Yeah, no drama, Eddie, that's for sure. Like I said, I avoid it like the plague. And the only reason why I've been somewhat, I mean, let's be real, sometimes drama, yeah, it is entertaining. Of course, it's drama. But the only reason why I've been paying somewhat close attention to it is because, like I said, it's relevant to my theory. So, hey, Hard Eyes. Like I said, some of it will be repetitive, but I'm going to go over a couple other things as well, and hopefully try and answer maybe some questions to the best of my ability. And obviously, not obviously, but I do go over, or I did go over this on D Live, but I went into a little bit more detail about it. And, um, you know, unfortunately, I can't go into more detail about it here. Yeah, definitely, Eddie. Ooh, look, I used the little comment thing. That'll happen probably like the only time during this live stream, because I'll get distracted. I tried explaining the shoe thing to my ex today, and I butchered it, and he thinks this stuff is even more stupid now. Oh no, to the ex that I know, or not that I know, but I don't want to like dox him or whatever. Not that saying his first name would, but anyways, I just want to make sure. Well, it doesn't help either that I butcher it, explaining it. And thank you for reminding me, because I need to find that video of Ole Damagard and Cody Snodgrass speaking about the shoes. And they do scrub a lot of the information, but you can, I mean, if you go and look at the majority of these, these tragic events, these mainstream tragic events, you have to like search for it, but you can still find videos about like the shoes, obviously, and Google pictures or whatever browser you like prefer to use, and go to images of these, tragic events, these mainstream tragic events, and see if you can find those random pictures of shoes all connected to them. Because that's the thing, is they choose something that is very common and like an everyday thing, so that it doesn't seem like it's like some conspiracy, or that it's out of the norm or whatever, because it's like, okay, Megan, sure, okay, there's shoes everywhere, like we wear shoes every day, but that's the whole point. And again, Ole Damagard and Cody Snodgrass, they explain it much better than I do, but if I can find that clip rather quickly before this live stream ends, I'll play it. I'll play the audio at least. So he's like totally asleep, huh, Shan? Oh no. Like, okay, so even I don't believe the reptilian thing. But then again, I mean, there's a lot of strange people out there that makes me question it. Or the alien thing, because I mean, if aliens are real or reptilians are real, I'd say Nancy Pelosi being one of them, she's more than likely alien. Um, Mark Zuckerberg, he's probably alien. Elon Musk makes sense. Mars, alien. Who else? I'd say Michael Jackson, but that was just the plastic surgery and whatnot, more than likely. But there's a lot of things out there, people out there that make me question that. I mean, I'm kidding, but not kidding. But no, I mean, and that's the thing is, if you talk about conspiracy theories or you call yourself a conspiracy theorist, the majority of people automatically think that you just believe every single conspiracy out there. I mean, there's a lot of ridiculous conspiracies out there. But the ones that I'm personally talking about or follow are the ones where the official narrative doesn't add up. For instance, like, I've brought this up before, and then everyone's going to go, oh my God, here she goes again with flat Earth. But it's not about like flat Earth or round Earth or hollow Earth. It's the fact that NASA has obviously been deceitful to us about many things. And so if they're willing to lie about one thing, what else have they lied about? Like, I'm not just questioning NASA just because I'm bored, right? Like, oh, I don't believe you. Just because you're a scientist doesn't mean you know what you're talking. That's not the case. It's the fact that stuff doesn't add up. He doesn't trust the government one bit, but he's set in his opinions and theories. That sounds like what I'm gonna kind of like what I'm gonna go over a little bit tonight is cognitive dissonance. Has he heard of that, Mr. Jamie? Hey, Purple. How are you? Hey, Luann. Let me see if I can find that ridiculous. Um, I know I'm just stalling here, but we're getting distracted. The picture of the boots from the Vegas event. I don't like to say the pew 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 word. Let's put actually Route 91. Sorry, I had to let my kitty into the room. I shut the door because the little kitten, she'll come in the room and just walk all over the keyboard and just like all up in my face, and so every time my other kitty wants to leave, I have to shut the door, and then I hear him go. He's so cute. He only meows like when he really wants something, and it's not like the meow 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 like annoying kind of like cat meow. I just listened to myself on my phone, and I'm all meow meow. Sounds funny. Like, do I really sound like that? I think so. Okay, I'm just looking for that picture. Let's see here. I probably shouldn't be in Google because they're not gonna show anything. Like there's videos, right? That from, because same thing with the Watts case. Many channel creators were, diving down rabbit holes immediately after the Vegas event, doing the exact same thing, burying their faces in the what do they call it? It's not a discovery, but it was the I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a case report, like the LVMPD, but and trying to figure out, what the heck happened, because nothing adds up. But there's videos that they pointed out or in the video they point out there, for some reason, I don't know why, but there was like wheelbarrows. Sorry, one second. Train, if you didn't hear. But there was random wheelbarrows, like just laying or randomly around like the concert venue or something. I don't know why were they like hauling like manure. I don't know what they're there for. But all I know is in the videos during the whole, when everything was happening, you see a couple people pushing this wheelbarrow, and there's supposed to be a person in there, right? Like who's injured, and you literally see the arms like just flapping around, like rubbery. It wasn't a real person. It was a dummy. And they have dummies now. And I'm like, I'll find that website too before this. That's probably not going to happen. So I'm not going to say that, but I will, if I remember, try to find it at some point and show you guys. But they have these realistic dummies where they even like, they look like they've been injured, like in war or some sort of injury. And they actually look like real people. But when you move them, you can tell that they're all, noodly and it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. And who puts someone in a wheelbarrow, anyways? I mean, there's so many inconsistencies about that event, but it made me think of that one right now. Okay, so I found a picture of the boots, but the one that I'm specifically referring to was the picture where they were just, set perfectly next to one another. But I'll still give you an idea. And I'm sure there's a lot more examples that Ole Damagard would know about, but this one is one that I remember specifically. Did I open it fully here? Okay, share screen. you guys like how I narrate what I'm doing, like share screen, hit share button, share audio. It should show up any second now. I don't know. Oh, great. Now my microphone's messing up. Great. So why is it coming up? Banner on the screen is pretty large. Page, go figure. I see what's live streams going. Yeah, I'm looking. I sound like a robot. Yeah, I know, Purple. I don't know what's going on with my microphone. I could try just doing it from the laptop, but I mean, at least it wouldn't go in and out and stop working on me and crack a lack. There's some sort of joke too, something about a mouse and something, and he was crack a lacking. Oh, something about him not having his cheese, or his cheese, but no. Oh, what do you call a? I'm gonna butcher it. Something about a mouse that. What's a mouse called that has no has cheese but no cracker? He was crack a lacking. So stupid. Okay, I butchered it in the beginning. Okay, so can you guys see the boots here, obviously in the left-hand corner? But there's another, from what I remember, there's another viral photo. And see how it says viral photo from Vegas shooting? And they were, like I said, set next to one another, lined up like if you were going to put them into your closet. Yeah, it's crazy. See this picture? See the chick. There's, and he'll notice too when these shots don't add up. There's always seems to be sort of photographer there and make list of everything, and just happens to get these great shots, even though people are allegedly being killed at the same time, but yet he's sitting there taking pictures, right? I mean, but I get trying to get the best shot, but geez. So this chick was another viral one, this photo. But you know what it does is it's dramatic. It pulls people in. It pulls at people's heartstrings. It's a very dramatic picture of this girl sitting on the side of the curb. Or on the curb. Hey, Buttercup. And all these Google results, they're going to show you the dummy pictures that I just talked about. They're not going to show you anything like that. Like I said, you have to search for it because it's been scrubbed, a lot of it. So I'm going to play this actual video. I'm just going to, hey, Michelle. They're called Getty photos. What do you mean, Michelle? And Michelle, she knows a ton about the Las Vegas shooting. I'll go to her live streams because she covers it a lot. And correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but I know that you've had to have you had to start channels over again, your channel, because it was taken down, or no? Or am I thinking of T? Hey, high hopes. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to audio this because I don't know, especially since YouTube seems so selective on who they want to give copyright violations to. I'm just going to play the audio probably. We're just getting started. High hopes. I was just rambling. So, like I said earlier, I have put this in one of my videos that I posted a few months ago, because I noticed something even back then. Because the minute I saw this, I felt as though trying to, they had some sort of agenda behind this, as far as Frank Rusek going, saying that he had to fly all the way to Colorado to give this interview, right, or this statement. Oh, you did? I'm sorry. So we're gonna listen to it really quick. Okay, stop screen. Plus, it's probably better anyways that because if you watch the video and it only you're gonna use your emotions more than logic, because you're just seeing the whole dramatic scene, right, of Frank Rusek being in front of the murder house, allegedly. So actually, I think it's better to not see it. So, anyways, here we go.
I am Frank Rusek. Last summer, on August 13, 2018, my daughter Shannon Watts and her children were murdered. They were killed by Shannon's husband and the children's father, Chris Watts. I can't possibly describe how painful the last 11 months have been for myself, my wife, and my son, Frankie Jr., and for everyone else who cared so much about Shannon and her children. Just dealing with this type of tragedy is more than a family should bear. But I am making a statement today because for the past 11 months, piled on top of pain and the grieving of this devastating loss, our family has been subject to horribly, cruelly abused, outright bullying, and on a daily basis. I don't want to draw more attention to the viral material that has been posted online. And so I don't want to go into specifics. But I will say, our family.
Okay, I want to pause it right there. And just want to, let's see. Let me see if my hotkeys work here. Oh, nope. J. There we go. I don't know why I said it like that. Hotkeys.
Including Shannon and her children and our grandchildren, have been ridiculed, demeaned, slandered, mocked in the most vicious ways you can imagine. We have been subject to false accusations, fake Facebook accounts, hate speeches, and constant stream of ugly, evil insults and attacks. Every time we turn around, there is someone trying to capitalize on our tragedy. By spreading false rumors and outright lies about Shannon and our grandchildren. We have been subject to threats on our lives, all because we are victims in painful tragedy. This is so wrong. It is cruel, it is heartless, it is flat wrong. It breaks my heart to know that we are not the first family to have to live through.
Dang it, I didn't go far enough back. Sorry. Anyways, he says that he mentions that he's not going to go into specifics about it, about the harassment and the death threats. Why not? Why not go into specifics about it? Because to me, personally, that's all hearsay. So sorry, but show me the proof. Show me the proof that there's death threats. Show me the letters. Show me the videos. Because again, why not show this, or why not go into specifics about it?
Through this kind of tragedy, and we won't be the last.
And not only that, but, and I'm still, again, even though I say this, I'm still new to true crime because this is my first true crime video that I've ever covered. Other than that, I just watched it for, a hobby. But are the victims' family members normally harassed and sent death threats? I mean, it's possible because people are messed up, but I've just never personally heard of them being, or any victims' family members being sent death threats. I mean, it's pretty extreme, especially since they're supposed to be victims, right?
Families like ours should have the right to be safe and the right, a basic level of privacy, the right to mourn in peace. And it boils my blood that my family and other families are dealing with worse imaginable tragedy have to deal with this kind of cruelty and bullying. It needs to stop.
Hey, Nikki.
To Congress or to any person, position in power.
Okay, sorry. So, listen to this part because this part is important. Importante.
We are calling on you to do something to pass laws that will protect victims of unspeakable crimes from this kind of abuse.
Let's listen to that again. Let's try it. Try this again. I'm going to use my little rewind 10 seconds key here. See if it works.
To do something to pass laws that will protect victims.
To do something. So he's speaking to Congress right now, right? Or to anybody that will hear him, right? And before I go further into that, if they are, or were actually getting death threats, isn't that something for law enforcement to deal with?
Of unspeakable crimes from this kind of abuse. Our online social media sites like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We have contacted you many times, reported this abuse, but no avail.
Okay, so again, first he says Congress and whoever will listen to him, right? So he's pleading to, again, whoever will listen because he's upset about this harassment and death threats, right? So now what he's doing, because I was going to play this whole thing and then just go over it, but I think it's easier for me to just do it as I go along. It's okay. I know, Luann, I know. And I don't mean any disrespect to you or anybody else that has been affected by this case or has dealt with, tragedy like that. And but I don't blame you if you can't be here. It's not, I understand. And I wish you would stay because this is important, about what's going on. But I understand. So thank you for letting me know.
We are calling on you again to do the right thing, to take some responsibility for your platforms and stop this despicable conduct. To the people who feel they are entitled to profit off our loss, we urge you, please stop. And for the people To the people who feel they are for your platforms and stop this despicable calling on you again to do the right thing. It takes the responsibility for your platforms. And
okay, so now he's calling out Google, Facebook, Twitter, all these big social media platforms and saying, you're not doing anything about us being harassed or these other family members being harassed. So he's pointing fingers at them right now and saying that they've tried to contact him. I think he actually might get into that in just a second, but that, you know, they've tried to contact these big social media platforms to do something about it, right? But Frank is saying that they've done nothing.
Stop this despicable conduct. To the people who feel they are entitled to profit off our loss, we urge you, please stop. And for the people who are interested in this case, who feel compelled to comment and discuss, please stick to the truth. It is painful enough for us to just dealing with the reality. Reading the insane conspiracy theories, ugly false rumors, and lies only make it more painful. Finally, to the people.
So there they go, calling out conspiracy theorists and stick with the facts, stick with the official narrative, even though that official narrative has many inconsistencies, red flags, and holes in it. And not only that, but if you're familiar with this case, there's a lot of unanswered questions that law enforcement left us with, especially considering that the amount of information that was released. I'm not going to say that it's useful information, but there was a lot of, you know, the body cam footage and whatnot. With that amount of information released, there's no reason why there should be so many unanswered questions. It should be open and shut if they're being transparent, right? So what do we do as what, you know, or as humans, what's human nature, if we can't get the answers from the source itself, right? Or the ones that we think have the answers or no, what do? We come up with every theory in the book as to what happened, or, you know, and try to find those answers. So when they say, oh, don't, you know, talk conspiracy and just stick with the facts, well, we don't even know what the freaking facts are, Frank. So, you know, easy for you to say, right?
Who have stood with us, who have supported us, and prayed for us and our family. For Shannon and her grandchildren, we can't thank you enough. God bless you all, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Question, just respectfully, was there any fear about coming forward because you're now giving these people that are saying this stuff even more for the platform that you will?
No.
That's actually a good question. He says, by coming forward with this, aren't you just giving these people on social media more to talk about? Yeah. It's only going to get people more interested in the case and want to talk about it even more. And the thing is, why do you need to go and make a statement like this? I mean, I guess, you know, if you want to get Google's attention or whoever, Facebook, Twitter, but I don't know.
Yes, I did. Why? Because I felt it needed to be done here at her house.
So if you couldn't hear, she said something like, did you feel the need to fly all the way here pretty much for, you know, to do this in front of the Watts home? And he said yes. And she said, why? Good question. That's actually a good question.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And in my opinion, the reason why he felt it necessary to do it in front of the house is because it pulls at those heartstrings again. It's dramatic. It makes people sad because they see him upset and then they see the house where the alleged murders happened and where innocent people allegedly lost their lives, right? And it just it pulls at the heartstrings. It's all psychological.
Basically, it's a nonstop thing. Everybody's talking about things that were not done correctly, and keep pushing the issues. It's a lot of ugly out there. A lot of ugly.
Sorry. Yeah, high hopes. Exactly. Why are the people involved in these cases, why is their information not protected? And their privacy. Exactly. And I'll probably go into that a little bit more. I mean, a little more later.
No, we haven't. It's not that we're looking at the stuff that's on YouTube and Facebook, and it gets sent to us.
Okay, listen to that again.
No, we haven't. It's not that we're looking at the stuff that's on YouTube and Facebook, and it gets sent to us.
So it's not that they go and purposely seek out or they go on social media and look for this stuff, but that it's getting sent to them.
Do you have people contacting you directly? Some of these things that are out there, have they contacted the family directly?
Not personally on our, live stuff, but on computer type, your phones and stuff.
Like Facebook messages, they try to contact you, some of that stuff.
Tell those people when you know some of them might watch this or post this on the internet tonight, what would you tell them?
Like I've been telling them for the longest time, just stop. Please just stop. Get on with your lives. Leave ours alone. We can't grieve. It's just a nonstop thing. They know who they are. We have a lot of YouTubers out there that are, I'll mention YouTubers, and they are backing us. But there's a lot out there that are just terrible. Well, I hope they can do something about these, this YouTube, Facebook, or Google, whoever is involved in the Twitters, and because it's not fair to these victims that are going through this. We don't deserve it. I'm speaking on behalf of other people that I.
So again, he's pointing fingers at these big social media groups. Platforms. Saying that they're not doing anything about it. The harassment.
Read already in there, and it's not fair to us.
What has been the response, let's say, at Facebook? And said, please help us, like this. What's been the response?
Nothing.
It's been nearly a year now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's stopping your ability. I know you can't move on, but to try and progress forward.
Yeah, because we hear it all the time. It's an ongoing thing. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there that are helping us, and they're pushing, and they're really, really pushing to get these people stopped. But it just seems as though YouTube just.
There he goes again, pointing fingers.
This is such a big case. If you could choose how your daughter's fate is being kept alive right now, how would you want to go online talking about her and your granddaughter?
Speak the truth. My daughter and my grandchildren were beautiful people. And my daughter was a very smart person, intelligent person. She needs to be kept that way instead of being ridiculed and talked down about.
You mentioned a little bit about with the prepared statement, just thanking folks that, can you speak more to that? Your appreciation and gratitude.
Well, we get a lot of support from all over the world. You're talking England, Philippines, Australia. Everybody sends cards, gifts, supporting us. Don't even know us. And it's it hits you in the heart when you see that people out there really do care and don't even know you. Just by seeing what's going on out there, they appreciate you.
Speaking to the Tri-Town area, anything you wanted to say since you're here, with the communities up here that for the support?
I just thank them all the time when I come out here. They're such a great neighborhood and great people out here.
How have you been dealing with the bullying over the past couple months, short of what you're doing today? How's your feeling with trying to move through?
Well, we just try to ignore it, but sometimes you can't ignore it.
Gosh, why does that sound so familiar? It reminds me of a scene from American Horror Story where the character is a victim and she's giving a statement or an interview where she says, we try to stay off social media and live our lives and move on, but we can't because we keep getting death threats and harassed. And that's just one example of all of the predictive programming in this case. Sorry, I just saw the notification that my mic went out. They're saying by simply talking about the case and not sticking with the facts and talking conspiracy theories is harassment. That's what I'm understanding from it. Because again, he didn't go into specifics about the death threats and the harassment. But earlier in this news clip, it's stick to the facts. So how is that harassment? By just talking about a true crime case.
It's sad when you get threats and everything else.
How are you planning? I know this is
And is he saying that he's getting death threats or threats not on social media? Because again, what I'm getting from it is that it's just solely on social media. I mean, how do you? I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but again, I haven't seen any evidence of anybody sending death threats or saying on the live stream that they're gonna do harm to them, right? Because like I said earlier, if they're actually getting death threats off social media, then that would be something for law enforcement and even probably on social media.
That's ours. No, my daughter is just I just want her to remember how she was, a beautiful person. And just like all this to stop. Not just for me, but for everybody out there.
I just want to show you guys something. My conspiracy-ness coming out here. So you see the double, almost look like Masonic pillars. And the reality two, the same. Hey, my stupid microphone. Sorry. Hey, baked cake.
It sounds like today really you're defending her and her.
Well, yes, that's how she was. She defended herself, and I'm out here now defending her. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be like this. I shouldn't have to be out here doing this. These Facebook and people should be regulating their people instead of just letting them go.
Again, attacking and pointing fingers at the platforms.
It's ridiculous. There's a few out there making some big money off it.
And he's complaining about YouTubers and Facebook or whoever, channel creators, making money off the case and profiting. What about all the mainstream media? Outlets that are making money. There's an advertisement on probably several on this Denver 7 Denver channel clip here, video. They're pretty much on all of them because they're all monetized. So why isn't he complaining about mainstream media profiting off the case? That's weird.
That's something that we have discussed. At this point, there's no real update in that area.
So you've got some dialogue with lawmakers, representatives.
It's something that we are in the process. I'm trying not to go too deep into it, but that is something we considered something that we're following up on. Yes, and more than just local, view national as well. It is something that people are very concerned about. It is pressing, and it is something very tragic.
I was going to say with something like this too, it's probably hard because which police agency do you go to, that sort of thing. That's probably where it gets a little muddy.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been something that once again, we weren't anticipating talking to a whole bunch of attorneys in this case. But you're correct. I mean, we called Facebook, we called YouTube, we called Twitter. I mean, honestly, when Frank talks about the people who were there for him, there's a dedicated group of people who were just going.
Again, pointing fingers. How many times are they going to point fingers at these big platforms? We tried to contact them. Here, his lawyers are even saying, right? His professional lawyers are saying, we've tried to contact all these big social media platforms, and they're ignoring us. They're not doing anything about it. They're not taking it seriously.
Out there and constantly,
hey, Mary Rose,
reporting and trying to get back at these people, essentially to take these things down. But they're, like Frank is saying, there's no regulatory arm of YouTube. There's no customer service line for YouTube, no customer service line for Facebook to contact.
You're a lawyer, right? You're a professional lawyer. Find a contact. If that was my attorney and he can find a way to contact someone or whatever, I'd be he probably wouldn't be my attorney anymore. Hey, Shani, love you.
Racked our brain over a year to get something done. A lot of this is just getting a message out there, hoping somebody responds.
Yes. Send the messages for her. Hopefully somebody will hear us.
Do you hope maybe that this could change law? And is that also your concern?
I'm hoping it'll change the law, but I'm hoping that these, Facebook and all these people, really look at what's going on in their thing instead of just trying to.
If we made a drinking game out of this, I would be wasted if I took a drink for every time that they pointed fingers at the social media platforms.
Get subscribers, whatever they want to call it. It's just, it's sad that they allow it to happen.
Honestly, nobody should have to go through this, but in your family, is there anyone specifically who's taking the deepest toll on this cyberbullying?
We all are.
Frank, I guess going over this past year, is it kind of maintained? Is it still?
Oh yeah, it's still going just as strong as it was in the beginning. Like I said, it's not only my family, it's other families too.
Have you talked with them personally?
Don't want to.
Hey, real life. Okay, so if you remember, Frank says that it's not like they seek out or go on social media. They tried to stay away from social media for a year, but people keep sending them stuff, right? I don't know if it's like friends, family members, or if it's actual, like, just regular people sending them stuff and if they have their numbers. I don't know. But he says that they try to stay off social media. So what did they do after this? This is what boggles my mind, that nobody asks, not nobody, but the majority of people will not ask questions like this. Is he says one thing and then they turn around and literally insert themselves, seek out channels on YouTube, go on social media, and not just social media, but the true crime community, a community where all they do is talk about death and the deaths of their family, right? Says the official narrative. So which one is it, Frank? Because again, you said that you try to avoid it and live your life, but you can't because you just keep getting sent all this stuff that people are saying, right? So let's turn around and literally go and cause chaos on social media, cause division, encourage the channels that are advocating for them and on their side, and getting in, whatever, bashing the other ones that are not, that are going against the official narrative. Literally seeking these these channels out, and not only that, but becoming moderators of these channels and playing the victim card. Why in the world, and I'm not them, but you would think that, yeah, and there shouldn't be a side, Mary, you're right. But that's what they're doing, in my opinion. That's what the whole Nutgate thing was for. Because the Nutgate was to, I'm pro Cindy and I'm pro Sandy, and this happened at Nutgate and that happened at Nutgate, and then it causes this whole division with everybody, and people are fighting over two families that they've never even met. They don't even know. The only thing they know about them is what law enforcement, the mainstream media, and the family said. But even then, it's all hearsay. We have no way of vetting that information or what kind of people they are. Like, look how much, like, just chaos that crazy Nutgate story caused by itself, let alone having the Ruseks literally go on social media and insert themselves into true crime. But you would think, well, one, especially since they said that they're trying to avoid it, but you would think that the true crime community is the last place that they probably should be if they're victims of a tragic event. Where again, all that they do in the true crime community is talk about it, the cases. So if you're really, Frank, Ruseks, if you're really trying to avoid social media, like you're saying here in this interview, then why insert yourself into the true crime community and engage in all that? Because all that does is, one, cause chaos, like I said, and two, it makes people start talking about the case even more. So that when I first saw this news, whatever it is, statement, I don't know if it's a conference, whatever, his plea, I immediately got the feeling that this was to push to get rid of free speech and censorship. And something else, the Ruseks have constantly been complaining since pretty much the beginning that, again, how people are profiting off of it, off of the case, off of the deaths, and how they're not sticking to the facts, and they get over it. Case is closed, right? But I'm sorry, if you don't want people talking about the case, why would you go on Dr. Phil and publicize the deaths even more if you don't want people talking about the case? Why would you stream the funeral live for the entire world to see if you don't want people talking about the case? And they flip-flop all the time. It's, oh, you can talk about it, but don't talk about conspiracy theories. And then it's, don't talk about it at all. Case is closed. It's like they don't even remember the things that they say. Or unless they just don't care, because they know that probably the majority of people are never going to ask these questions, as they should. Regardless, victim or no victim. Being a victim just makes you a victim, unfortunately. It doesn't make you a saint. It doesn't make you honest. But, apparently victims are just that they have immunity towards anything. They're not allowed to be questioned. They're not allowed to be called out on anything because they're victims. No, I'm sorry, but I'm not just going, call me heartless or whatever, but that's, people need to be asking these questions. So don't go on Dr. Phil. Don't stream the funeral live. But you know why they did that, right? You know why they streamed the funeral live? Because it pulls at heartstrings. It pulls people in. It gets people emotional. It gets them worked up. And then all logic goes out the window. It's all psychological. Right, exactly, Hard Eyes. That's the whole point of true crime, is to, try to figure out why the murderer or whatever accused did what he did. Then fill in any holes if there are any. This one just happens to have a lot of them. So again, don't go on Dr. Phil, don't stream the funeral, and definitely don't keep Shanann's Facebook profile open. It's been open since day one. If you didn't want, to be made a public figure more than you already are, then why would you leave your daughter's Facebook profile open? Because again, it pulls people in. How many people, not to mention the whole publicity stunt by Lavelle. That was brilliant, in my opinion. Do you know how many people watch Shanann's Facebook and multiple times? Her videos, all her Thrive videos? It's like free publicity, like major. It's crazy. But again, it pulls at heartstrings. And there's so many people that have said how they feel like they know Shanann, how they feel like it's her. It's almost like she's a sister to them, or they're a part of their own family, because that's the whole psychological purpose of it, is to make it feel like because it was like Shanann almost invited all of us into her home, into her life, and so a lot of these women can relate to Shanann's trials and tribulations in her life, and here comes where all the emotion. Here comes the emotion. And that's, again, a huge part of the psychological aspect of it. So they're totally, in my opinion, contradicting themselves a lot. No, we try to stay off social media, but no, we're going to go and we're going to insert ourselves into all these true crime channels where nothing, I'm sorry, but again, that's all they do is talk about the case. Why would you turn around and do the complete opposite of what you're trying to say right here, what you're saying in this video. Just saying. Well, I'm just saying. But then, you know, if you question it, and there's probably a lot of people that have thought of this, but they're too afraid to say anything for fear of being, you know, called a piece of shit or how dare you, because they're victims. It's like I don't know if it's like, I don't know if this is the right term, but it's like we've been so dumbed down that and conditioned to just believe everything we're told by mainstream media and law enforcement and never ask a single question or even try to vet the information. They just believe everything that they hear. And yet, nope, they're a victim, so how dare you question their morals or anything? Even though clearly, he's clearly contradicted himself. But in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but this was the first attempt to get people stirred up. And what he is doing here, and I've mentioned this several times, but again, I will keep repeating it and keep going over it as long as it takes. So by Frank going to Colorado and standing in front of the house, again, it pulls at heartstrings and it makes it dramatic so that people don't think logically. They just think with their emotions. So this is where that whole Hegelian dialectic that I've been talking about a lot lately. The problem, reaction, solution. So Frank is standing up here pointing fingers at these social media platforms saying, you are not, we've tried to contact you about this harassment that we're receiving, even in death threats, even though there's no evidence to support that, because he didn't want to go into specifics, right? But, you know, they're victims, so we're just supposed to believe that it's true. So he's pointing fingers several times, as I pointed out, that they're not doing anything about this harassment. How dare you, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, for allowing this all to happen on your platform? So by doing that, he's creating the problem. It's like, and it's like reverse psychology almost. So it YouTube is probably knows about it, right? Or these big platforms, they know about it. They know that nothing's going to happen, right? It's just all psychological bullshit. So how dare you not do something about my family and other victims, family members, being harassed? So he creates the problem. We, the public, then react to that problem and we go, oh my God, this is terrible. This should not be happening. Why are the Ruseks and these victims being harassed and threatened? And these, oh my God, this is ridiculous. How come these big platforms are not doing anything about this? This is bullshit, right? So we react and we turn to the ones, or we turn to them for a solution, saying do something about it. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, do something about this harassment, not realizing that they were the ones who actually created the problem in the first place. And what is the solution? Free speech, censorship. Problem, reaction, solution. And they use it all the time, not just in like these events, but a lot of these high profile, mainstream, tragic events that are orchestrated. Because here's the thing. And well, I've had, you know, this is one of the main questions that people ask is, why would they go through all the trouble to orchestrate this? It doesn't make any sense. What's the agenda behind it? And it's not agenda, it's agendas, because they're not going to go out of the way to do all this for just to possibly gain one thing. There's going to be multiple things to gain. So the reason why they have to orchestrate these terrorist attacks and these mass shootings and these homicide cases, one of the reasons is because they know that they can't come out and just say, hey, guess what? We decided today that you're not allowed to have free speech anymore, and you're not allowed to have opinions on social media. But we just, hey, sorry. Dang it. I was muted again. I'm glad that I saw it when I didn't go on a rant there for a while. Let me see where I left off. How long was I muted for? Dang it. Okay, it doesn't matter if I repeat myself. I apologize. 3 minutes. 3 minutes I've been. 5 minutes? Oh my lord. Or more? Why didn't you guys tell me? Well, it's your fault. Well, shoot. Do you remember what I last said? The last thing you heard? I think it was probably when I said that Facebook knows about it. Oh, that was a long time ago. Oh, geez. Because I said that YouTube and all the platforms know what's going on. A half an hour? You guys are funny. You're like the whole live stream. I'm like, oh, shit. Well, let's do it again. Let's circle back. Okay, so yeah, I think it was probably, oh boy. It's hard enough for me as it is to get it right the first time, let alone again. Was it really 5 minutes? Or 30 minutes? That actually would be, well, it wouldn't be funny at that time, but probably later on afterwards, it'd probably be pretty funny if I was muted for 30 minutes. And you guys didn't say anything. That's the last thing you heard was platforms knowing? Yeah, okay. So I was muted there for a while. Awesome. Okay, so they know about it. Did you hear anything about the Hegelian dialectic part? The problem, reaction, solution? That whole bit? I have a feeling you're going to say no. Okay, so only 1 minute now. Which one is it? You guys are messing with me. What's next? 33 minutes? 13 minutes? 666 minutes? 3? Okay. Loss of free speech. Oh, okay, so that I was muted for a while there. Okay. All right, so take 2. What Frank is doing. So you did hear the problem reaction solution part? Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on. Oh my gosh. Okay, so in a nutshell, in a nutgate, Frank is standing up here pointing fingers at these social media platforms, and we're looking at the Hegelian dialectic, so the problem reaction solution. I'm going to try and do this quickly in case you in case I am repeating myself. So Frank is creating the problem by pointing fingers at these big social media platforms, right? Then we react to that problem about YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook not doing anything about these victims, family members being harassed and threatened and bullied, right? So what do? We react and we say, oh my God, that's terrible. We don't think logically, we just react. And we say, this is ridiculous. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, do something about it. Do something on your platform about these victims being harassed. So we turn to them for a solution, not realizing that they were the ones who actually created the problem in the first place. So your problem reaction solution. And they use it a lot. Not just in these homicide cases, but in mass shootings and terrorist attacks all the time. And hopefully you guys didn't hear this part, but already, I don't think you did. So the question I get, I was muted for a long time. I was muted longer than 3 minutes, I think. But the question I get a lot is, why would they orchestrate something like this? Why would they go through all that trouble to what's the agenda? But it's not just one agenda, it's several agendas. Because they're not going to go through all that trouble and only potentially gain one thing. There's gonna be multiple things to gain. But one of the reasons, or like main reasons why they have to orchestrate these events is because they have to trick us into giving up our rights. So for instance, they're not going to just come out and say, they know that they can't come out and go, hey guys, it's Biden here. I don't know if that's how Joe Biden talks. Sleepy Joe. Okay, I'm not going to get political. We decided today, or we discussed it, and we decided that we don't want you guys to have free speech anymore. We don't want you to have opinions on social media. Okay? But we just wanted to be honest about it. So we're going to take away your free speech, even though that's one of your rights in the Constitution. They know that would never work. And they know that. You can't just tell the public that you're going to just take away their rights. So they have to orchestrate these tragic events in order to trick us into giving away those rights, our own rights. Which is, in my opinion, what's happening right here with this video, with this plea to the social media platforms. Yeah, and that's the thing too, Michelle, is they will, say stop talking about the case and only stick to the facts, but then insert themselves into social media in the true crime community, knowing that that's going to just add fuel to the fire and get everyone worked up and start talking about the case again. They know what they're doing. If you don't want people to talk about the case, stay off of social media, and especially the true crime community. And don't be like Frankie Jr. and post your FBI interview talking about your, sister who was allegedly murdered, right? Why would anyone post something like that on their YouTube channel? They're saying that, oh, we're trying to move on and mourn the loss of our family, but yet you post your FBI interview on your YouTube channel? In my opinion, one, that's weird, and two, it's done for a reason. To get people worked up, to play the victim card, to say, oh my gosh, Frankie, that's so sad. I'm so sorry that you're going through this. Without ever asking questions, without ever saying, that is kind of weird. Why would Frankie, if they're trying to move on, why would he publicize his FBI interview that we've all seen a number or listened to a number of times? Why bring that, why open that door again? Yeah, exactly. Big cake. And I have a opinion towards that as well. That whole circus between that creator and the Ruseks. And another example is with the mass shootings or the terrorist attacks. They know that they can't come out and just say, hey, guess what? We already took your free speech away because we told you we were going to. But now we're going to let you guys know that we're going to take away your pew pew pews. Because we don't want you to have a way to protect your family in your home or in yourself or anywhere for that matter. So hand them over, guys. Okay? All right. Thanks. We just want to be honest. So you should appreciate our honesty and just hand over your pew pew pews, right? No. That would never work. You can't just tell the public that you're going to take away their rights. So they have to orchestrate these tragic events and use the whole Hegelian dialectic problem reaction solution. So they orchestrate the school shootings, and there's your problem. Then no, I know Watson didn't use a firearm. I'm just saying that the Hegelian, you're messing with me, Chris, right? I can't ever tell because usually there's like a LOL that people will use, or like a haha or smiley face. So it's hard to tell if you're being sarcastic or not. But I bring up the firearms because you are being okay. Good. I'm already having enough trouble as it is with my microphone and getting through these live streams. You got to mess with me. It's funny. It is. Because that's like the sarcasm I have as well when I'm not all serious with the Watts case. But so they create the problem, which is the shootings, and then we react. We don't think logically. We just react with our emotions and say, oh my God, stop all these innocent lives from being taken, right? By these items, these killing machines. So do something, government. Do something about these children being a part of a tragic event at a educational facility. I don't know. See, I always have to reword everything, but at this point, it's like whatever. I will find another way to get my point across. I always do. So we react and say, do something about these school shootings, right? Not realizing that they were the ones who actually created the problem in the first place. And what's the solution? Pew, pew, pew control. And the craziest part is that, I mean, not only are they tricking us, but it's the people that are asking for something to be done and demanding something be done, they actually think that they're doing something good for society, when in all reality, they're just making it worse because they're literally begging for the rights to be taken away, and they have no idea. Yes, 100% trust your government. Okay, YouTube, you hear? All right. Just want to let you know, trust your government. Nothing conspiratorial here. They're looking out for your best interest. That's what I said, YouTube. Algorithms. Okay. So that's the immediate feeling I got and this was July 22nd, 2019. So that was, in my opinion, this news interview was the first attempt to get a reaction out of us. And again, that's why he had to do it in front of the house, to make it all emotional and pull at heartstrings. Because people don't think logical. The majority of people don't when they're emotional. So this was the first attempt to get us worked up and to start demanding that something be done. But in my opinion, I think that it failed because it didn't get people fired up enough. So that's where the Ruseks come in and contradict themselves and go and seek out social media channels and engage in the true crime community of all places, which makes zero sense considering what he said before several times. To cause that chaos, to cause the division, to get people fighting over which family is more of a victim than the other. I'm pro Watts. I'm pro Rusek. And again, fighting over and advocating for two families that they've never even met. Like, don't people have enough drama in their own life and with their own families to deal with, let alone fighting and arguing with strangers over two families you never met? It's crazy. I mean, it's literally bonkers. People have no idea what kind of people these families are. These two families are. But because they're victims, they're untouchable. Yeah, me too, Michelle. Yep, don't have any. Lost them all in a boating accident. They're at the bottom. They're in the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Nope, don't have any. It's funny that everybody lost them in a boating accident, right? Crazy, huh? So that was the second attempt to get, and they started talking about Shenan's Law. They had a few channels advocating for the Ruseks and hashtag Shenan's Law, hashtag Nico's Law, really pushing that. And then for whatever reason, that didn't seem to get people stirred up enough. So then you have the third attempt, which is, and I could be wrong about this, but that's where Lana and Kim Kaufman come in and start accusing Shanann of killing the girls, right? Come out of nowhere. They might have been in Facebook groups for the first 2 years, but they literally came out of nowhere. And it was right when the case started to die down. And you'll notice that about these events. Right when it starts to die down, some breaking news always comes out that nothing ever comes from it. Because they want people to be distracted, to bury our heads again into the discovery and try to solve a case that was never meant to be solved. It's done that way on purpose. Just like Las Vegas, where they released all this information. And what did we, not we, but like a lot of people do and are still trying to do. They're still filing FOIA requests for to get information about Las Vegas. But there was so much missing information, so much irrelevant information, and holes and red flags in that narrative that it would be impossible to know everything that happened. But it's done that way on purpose, in my opinion. I know the brown paint, it's just your opinion. It doesn't sound bad at all. I agree. I think that the brown paint is hideous. And they allegedly picked that color. It's very dreary. I wonder if it was done like that on purpose. You know, to make this murder house dark and dreary. In Erie, Colorado, no pun intended. Huh? Okay. Which is a whole nother rabbit hole that I've been down that I'm not going to talk about right now. But there's something eerie going on for sure. But yes, I agree as far as colors go. And so through, you know, after this interview, then they started saying how they have the lawyer interview or the interview with the lawyers or press conference saying that if people don't stop talking about the case and they don't stick to the facts, they're going to have to bring the law into it. So now they're threatening, saying if you talk conspiracy theories or you go against the official narrative, we might bring legal matters into it. And then after that, what do they turn around and do? Because they say, stop talking about the case. It's over with. Law enforcement did an amazing job. They did everything that they could. And everyone that's behind bars that should be is. And nothing to see here, right? Stop talking about the case. And yet they're still engaging themselves on social media, for one. And two, what do? They work with Netflix and their documentary that was released. If you don't want to publicize the deaths of your family, then why do all these things to publicize it even more? Stay away from social media as far away as possible. That's going to be in your best interest to move on. But they sure were quiet. The Ruseks were real quiet as far as telling people not to talk about the case whenever the whole them working with Netflix thing was released. Which is surprising because they don't care that they contradict themselves because they do it all the time. Yeah, and I can't believe not everybody, but I don't know why I always say everybody. I can't believe everybody believes it because that would be false because I don't believe it. The whole GF thing, Michelle, to me, personally, that was so obviously fake. And that's the thing too, is like a lot of these orchestrated events, they don't hide it. It's like once you're awake and you know how these people operate, it's so easy to see the deception and the fakery. That it's almost comical. But again, there's so many people, there's so more people out there that just believe everything that they see and hear. No matter what, no matter who tells them. But if it's law enforcement and it's the government or the mainstream media, then it must be true, right? Because they're higher authority or whatever. And the government has our best interests out for us. But they put all this symbolism in plain sight and all their numerology. Hey, Drew. How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. But yes, but once you're aware of it, it's so extremely obvious. Oh, and don't even get me started on that, dude. Baked cake. That's, or either one. It's so, and okay, and I say don't get me started, and then I start talking about it. But it's still important to what's going on, because you're wandering around your house aimlessly at 2 a.m. Fun stuff, right? Yeah, I do that sometimes. So I'm glad I'm not the only one. No, I don't do that. You are the only one. I'm just kidding. But this whole like inmate stuff, like his like little like friends in prison allegedly that are coming and speaking out, like it's so like ridiculously tabloid news. Like, who cares if so and so dude in prison traded Chris Watts his Vaseline for a pair of his boxer shorts? Like, really? Is that what the true crime community cares about? Because I thought that we were here to talk about true crime and facts, not soap opera tabloid stories released by People magazine and the Daily Mail. It's just a distraction and to steer people in the opposite direction of the truth. But apparently that's what everyone wants to hear. And I just figured if they want to see a drama series or a soap opera, then watch it on television. But I mean, that's essentially what's going on here. We're watching a reality drama series played out. And the majority of people think if they see it on body cam footage, then it must make it real. Yeah, she is a huge distraction. I agree, Chris. Oh, and that's what I was trying to get to earlier, was that you have these channel creators that just come out of nowhere and then start just causing chaos and drama, and it's definitely all a distraction to keep people, again, focused on the case and are interested in it, and steer people in the opposite direction for sure. Yeah, that too, big cake. Yeah, exactly. So, and it's like, one, why would anybody believe what Chris says? And like, it just boggles my mind that when I see so many people say, but Chris said this and Chris said that, it's like, hello, one, he's a pathological liar, whether it be because he's playing a pathological liar or he's really one in I say real life, right? One that he's not portraying, or both. He's still a pathological liar who's changed his story multiple times in his confession. Like, to me, it's just so blatantly obvious, but I know that it's not the same for everyone. So I try to remember that. But it doesn't matter. If someone says, I'm writing Chris, it's still hearsay. Anybody can write anybody a letter. It doesn't mean that they're really in prison. It just means that they're writing them a letter. And even if they are talking to him, again, he's a pathological liar. If Cadel says that she interviewed him and made her book, she still wrote a book about someone who's a liar, who's given us nothing factual. So I sound like a robot. I'm like, a book, someone is a liar, because I have my headphones in to make sure I'm not muted. You take it with a grain of salt. Like, I don't know. I have no words for it most of the time. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone every single day in general, but definitely in the true crime community, because people will just believe everything they're told, and it doesn't matter who it's coming from. And they'll actually believe it as factual, that, oh, well, if Cadel said, because she talked directly to Chris, so then it must be true. No, it's not. It's not. It doesn't mean that at all. You have to take it with a grain of salt. It's all hearsay. Yeah, and it's so like high school. I'm like, are these like, people really act like this? Like grown people? Like, it just, I mean, I know that people thrive on drama. Oh, I just used thrive. Apparently they do, but for me personally, I avoid it like the plague. So, but I guess I'm not everybody. Yeah, exactly. Baked cake. Exactly. Yeah, I don't actually. I know he's not, Michelle. He's not in prison. There's no evidence to back that up either. Zero. And you can show me as many pictures as you want of him in a uniform and call it a jail behind him. I still wouldn't believe it. Call me crazy, but I wouldn't believe it, especially with technology and all the ways to manipulate photos and videos. But the majority of people just believe it, everything that they're told. Or if their favorite channel creator said it, it must be true. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make it true at all. Hey, Chica, you're up late or early? And the thing with Lana and Kim's channels and a couple other channel creators that have been around for a while, one in particular, how is it that they're allowed to literally accuse Shanann of murdering her kids with no evidence to back that up, and yet their channels are still going strong? But there's tons of other channels on YouTube that are trying to speak the truth about certain things in these events, and they can barely keep their channels up. It's pretty telling in itself. Hey, it's okay for you to accuse a deceased woman, based off the official narrative, of murdering her children, but you're not allowed to question the authenticity of a tragic event that has many holes in its narrative. So it's okay to accuse Nicole Kessinger of murder. It's okay to accuse her of being an accomplice to murder, but you're not allowed to ask questions to victims in a tragic event that doesn't add up because they're victims. So they're off limits. Sorry. But hey, go ahead and accuse anybody you want to of murder. Any of the coworkers. Say that they poisoned or with psychedelics or whatever, that they're all on drugs, that they're all part of a cult. Like, you can do all that, but no, you're not allowed to question the authenticity of a well-documented tragic event. Again, it's pretty telling, in my opinion. I'm gonna go grab my drink out of the fridge. I'll be right back after these messages. Just kidding. Not monetized, no advertisements. Okay, sorry about that. Hey, Alexis. Hey, Nelly. Back asswards, exactly. I know. Is that even a thing? I don't even think that's a thing, Chris. Lactose-free Gatorade? That. Hey, Mark. Fashionably late, I see. You're not going to get sub kudos points for that. Just being honest. Just kidding. Yeah, that's all they're doing is just over and over and over again. Chica. No, but I noticed that someone else in the case was drinking Mountain Dew. That's pretty interesting. They really love their Mountain Dew in Colorado, I guess. Oh, you working, Mark? And if you thought that, if you think that that I believe everything is fake, Mark thinks everything is fake. He thinks my rooster's fake. He thinks me as dog's fake. He thinks that nothing is real. Talk about conspiracy theorist. Crazy. Okay. Hey, Candid Soul. Oh, and that's a good point as far as you know, NK goes. In the Dr. Phil episode that you're referring, well, not the podcast, but in the actual episode that the Rusex went on, they gave us the impression that okay, I couldn't hear myself, so I had the volume down. It's like, no, don't tell me my mic was muted. That they gave us the impression that they believe that Nicole Kessinger was involved. They're like, oh yeah, she deleted her text messages and da 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 da, and she said, how can cops trace text messages and so but then a few months later, it's Nicole Kessinger's innocent. She didn't help Chris do anything. Chris is the only one that he didn't have any help, and the one who's guilty is behind bars. And law enforcement did everything that they could, and they did a great job. They should get a plaque on the wall, and no conspiracy here. But to me, if someone has to say that there's no conspiracy, then that's probably a conspiracy. Just like Mr. Lombardo from the Las Vegas event stood up there and said, there is no conspiracy here. Why do you have to convince us that there's no conspiracy if it's so ridiculous? I don't know. In my opinion, if I wouldn't believe any story that's on Dr. Phil. It's all to just, you know, get the story out there, push the propaganda, pull at everyone's heartstrings. And of course, when you have someone like Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz, they always have their professionals on, right? Like their therapists or their psychiatrists speaking about the cases. Because if they're professionals talking about it, then it must be true. Because they're professionals, right? Yeah, right? The Kool-Aid coming right up. It's funny. So I was in I think I was in Mia's stream the other night, and I have one thumbs down. Which one of you was it? I have a 1 in 29 chance. I'm getting it right. I'm just kidding. It's so funny to me. I think I mentioned this on one of my recent live streams. Is the whole like thumbs up, thumbs down thing. It's like, it's stupid in my opinion. It's like, do you really hate something that much or that video that much where you you just can't help yourself that you're like, I don't like this video. I'm gonna thumbs it down. I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. Like, you just couldn't resist, could you? Because does it make you feel better? Could you sleep at night now that you dislike the video? It's just so, I just laugh because it's so ridiculous. It's like, if you don't like it, then don't watch it. Like, you really have to, like, feel compelled to just, they're like, oh, should I do it? Yeah, I'm doing it. I don't like what they're saying. Then don't watch it. That's what's amazing, is you still do have the ability to think for yourself and decide whether or not you want to watch it or don't watch it. It's just, I don't know, it's just so ridiculous. And they're like, I could just see them going, hey, guess what I did today, guys? I thumbs down that one video because I didn't like it. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's so cool. You do, it's like, really? I mean, I'm sure they don't do that. Well, they probably do, but I just picture that, in my head. Like, and I mentioned this example when I was, that's a live stream, when I went over the Honor Network, Honor. Every time I say that, it reminds me of Liar Liar. And he's like, all hail the Honorable Judge Stevens. And Jim Carrey's like, honorable, because, he can't lie. So when I hear Honor Network, it reminds me of that. But because they mentioned, or they had an example on their website that YouTube and these social media platforms, they allow revenge porn or whatever to stay up, but then they take down videos with women breastfeeding and women or that they leave up women. Wait, which one is it? They leave up women breastfeeding in swimsuits? No, that they take those down. I don't know. Anyways, so I was like, well, I personally don't want to watch a video of a woman talking about how she breastfeeds her 8-year-old son and then literally on the camera breastfeeds her 8-year-old son. Like, I don't want to watch that. So I changed it. And don't ask how I ended up finding that. It was completely random. I'm not looking up. They're like, oh, if you have to convince us that you didn't, Megan, then it's probably you did look that up. No. I find the most random stuff by searching for other things. But did I want to watch that? Actually, I wouldn't be. It was a long time ago. I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube recommended it, because they recommend some weird ass shit. I'm like, oh, thanks, thanks YouTube. Thanks for recommending this breastfeeding video of an 8-year-old. Oh, what, the maple syrup? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't 8, between 6 and between 3 and 15. I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, he was well over the age, in my opinion, too. But that's my opinion, right? She has her opinions as a mother, and she's going over the pros of, or the benefits of breastfeeding her well over the age of a toddler or a baby, for that matter. The benefits of doing that. That's her prerogative as a mother. She wants to make videos about that. If she wants to bust it out on her live stream and show it, then, and if YouTube's okay with that, then that's fine. I don't have to watch it. I don't watch it. I turn it off, and if I really don't want to see it, I'll delete it out of my history, or if I don't want anybody else to see it. But the last thing I'm going to do is go, oh my gosh, I'm so offended by this right now. I can't believe I'm going to give it a thumbs down. I'm going to flag that video. No, that's ridiculous. It's not going to make me feel any better or anything. I'm just going to move on, and I'm going to hope that YouTube doesn't recommend that video for me again. It just must make them feel better at night or something, or I don't know. Gives them powerful feeling. Like, hitting a thumbs down button. I don't know. It's ridiculous. But so when I was in Mia's chat, I was explaining how, because whenever I talk about there's only a select few channels where I can actually like say whatever I want, and even then I'm not completely transparent in everything that I would like to say, but it's still their channel, and I don't want to like disrespect them. But there's a couple of channels where I can still voice my opinions on my theory, and they don't care. And one of them is Mia's. And if someone can put Mia's link in the chat, is it Chica? If you could, I think you might be my only mod here. Put Mia's link in the chat for me. That'd be great. But there was someone in there that was like totally against my theory, and I said, if you think about it, all the information that we've been given in this case, is there any actual physical evidence or proof that anything that we've been told about this case actually happened or is actually real? And the majority of people are going to go, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, of course it's real because the law enforcement told us. But how do you know? How do you know that these are even their real names? How do you know that Kessinger and Chris were actually having an affair? Were you there? Did you see them doing the horizontal polka? So funny, because I would never say horizontal polka when I'm not live streaming, but it's funny. I say a lot of things that I wouldn't say normally off when I'm not live. But anyways, it would be something different that I would say. But for the sake of being live and being respectful, have you actually seen them for yourself do the horizontal polka or whatever? Or do their little threesome anal penetration that she searched for? No. But everybody just believes it. I mean, not everybody. The majority of people just believe it because they were told and because it's written down in the discovery. Or do you have actual proof that they were really having an affair? Is there any proof that anyone died? Is there any proof that there is actual victims? Is there any proof that there's bodies? Is there any actual evidence that Jimbo exists? Or is he just a made-up person that they made up a Facebook? There's so many. But my point is, how do you know that any of it is factual? Can you prove it? Can you, like, next time someone says anything like that to me, I'm going to say, give me one example of something that you actually vetted for yourself that you can, without a doubt, prove is factual about this case. That's not hearsay. Megan in chat, has anyone seen the TikTok video of the woman who used to work at Anadarko? I don't believe so. I had TikTok for about like 2 days, and then like 1 or 2 days, and then I deleted it. It's like, this is this. I mean, I'm not saying like that they aren't real people and they don't exist and they're holograms or something. I'm just saying, how do we know that any of it, what we're being told, is true? Michelle, booby. Not sure why you said booby, but it's funny to me because it's a funny word. I don't care if you mention other creators. It's ridiculous. The whole competitiveness and don't mention other channel creators. What do I care? I don't care. I mean, I'm not saying like that to you. I'm just saying, like, it's just, I don't care. If it's relevant, unless you're like literally promoting like a channel and it's like filling up the chat or something, then yeah, of course not. But Oh, did she do the? I thought it was Alex that did the TikTok compilation or whatever. I haven't watched it. I just saw the notification. Did someone say booby? Chris says. Oh yeah, and then her one teacher, right, Chica, that called her Shanna Ann. Please, Shanna Ann. We called her Shanna Ann. Hey Sue, you caught alive because I'm on late. There is a bird called a. Is it a booby or boob? I think it's booby. I think you're right. Drew. And then then another example is, well, but then Chris tried to poison her with the oxy and this and that, but it's like there's no proof of that at all. Why? Because Chris said that he tried to put miscarry the baby with Nico with the oxy. It's still all hearsay, but the majority of people just believe it. It just boggles my mind. And the fact that the majority of people just believe a narrative just simply because they're being told. Or because they saw it on body cam footage, so it must make it real. No, it doesn't. You know how many times in movies we've seen SWAT teams and body cam footage? Or murder? Does that make it real? No, it makes it a movie. It doesn't make it real just because you see it on the television or on a screen. Like I would not usually recommend watching television, but I would recommend watching and even these shows. I feel like they're still hyped up a little bit. Actually, not so much this one. It doesn't seem too like dramatic or anything like that. But even the ones that are supposed to be like reality ones are usually hyped up for they have to draw an audience. But there's a show called Murder Tapes that I watch. It was like one of the few shows that I watch. It's called Murder Tapes, and it's on I think it's Discovery ID, one of those true crime channels. I can't remember. Investigative ID. Did I say that one already? I don't know. But so it's called Murder Tapes, and it's revolves around different, obviously, murder cases that where it's all, not all of it, but the majority of it is the body cam footage. So when they show up to the crime scene, or when they show up for the 911 call, or when they show up for the welfare checks. So it's like you're, seeing it all unfold, right? Like pretty much like the Watts case. But the difference is, if you go and watch that show, not everyone's faces are blurred out, and I'm not really sure why that is, but the majority of the time, the body camera is pointed a little bit down, so you can't. So when they go inside these homes of these individuals, you're not seeing all the things inside their house and their place of privacy, right? And you just see feet. Or if it is like eye level, then their faces are blurred out. And if it's a child, their face is blurred out. Why? Because it protects their privacy. And for their protection. So why in the Watts case was no one's personal information redacted? Why was Madison Atkinson's face not blurred out on the body cam? Why was Nicholas Atkinson's face not blurred out on the body cam? Because he, at the time, was a juvenile and underage. That's not real life, okay? At all. And if you literally like watch one of those shows, murder tapes, and then immediately watch the watch, you probably don't even have to do that because we have it all these body cam footage and videos already burned into our brains, right? But if you watch one of those shows, one of those episodes, total difference. Like one episode, it's the police officer gets called for a welfare check, right? And he goes around to the back and notices that the sliding door is open. Now, police officers never know what they're going to be walking into for a welfare check or crime scene or anything like that. So they have to, one, keep in mind, or, look out for the civilians' protection, right? Or the person that called the welfare check or whoever. But not only that, but also their own. And usually they're not going to go into inside a house, especially if it seems like there's something nefarious going on or whatever. They'll call for backup because they don't know what they're going to be walking into. So why in the world would Coonrod let Chris, Nicole Atkinson, and Madison and Nicholas Atkinson in the house, and not only just in the house, but let them walk all around and touching everything? They have to assume that it could possibly be a crime scene. So now, potential evidence is all tainted. Madison's, little toddler hands are probably all grubby and touching everything. And then Nicholas Atkinson's touching light switches. And it's not real life. It's not realistic. If it were real life, Madison's face would have been protected. I mean, blurred out for her protection. I mean, if you literally look at it from a different perspective and take a step back and you watch that body cam footage, nothing fits. Like, you have everyone standing around. There's no sense of urgency. No one calls out Shanann's or the girls' names. Nobody's asking questions. Coonrod's just standing there like a doofus. I mean, obviously Chris doesn't count because he's supposed to be the murderer, right? Madison's walking around the house. Coonrod doesn't even go into every single room in the house to make sure that no one was there. What kind of police officer doesn't go in every single room to check and just lets everybody else go in the room and let's lift up a pillow and see if they're not under the pillow. Clearly. And the minute that no one was in the house is when they should have, they shouldn't have let anybody go in at all. But at that point, that's when Coonrod should have said, hey, this might be a potential crime scene because I don't know what's going on here, but I don't want any evidence tainted. So it's best that you guys probably leave. Because what if Madison Atkinson, what if they were in the house and Coonrod didn't bother to go into the library or playroom? What if they were, God forbid, in the closet and Madison Atkinson found them first? That would have been like traumatizing. Again, it's not real life. It's really not. And just because you see it on body cam footage, it doesn't make it real. And then we're given useless body cam footage like the Thayers picking up Dieter from the house, Ronnie Watts being transported to a hotel. How is that relevant to the case? How does that get me any closer to understanding what in the hell happened at this case or why Chris did what he did? It doesn't. It's pointless, but it's emotional. Oh my gosh, the Thayers, poor Dieter. He's picking up Dieter from the house, from that empty house where Shanann and the girls once lived, but now they're no longer here. Pulls at heartstrings. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Ronnie just had to hear Chris confess to the murdering his daughter-in-law and grandbabies. Now they have to take him to a hotel because he can't stay at the house because it's a crime scene. It's dramatic. And then if we show video footage of Chris being booked into Weld County Jail, it must be real, right? I mean, because we see it. That proves it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't prove it at all. But the majority of people will not ask these types of questions or point these things out because they think that if it's coming from the government or the mainstream media and if they see it on camera, then it must be true, even though it doesn't make it true at all. Hey, Pride or Honesty. There's so many examples in this case. It's just insane. Hey, States of the United. Yes, I am. I'm saying that it was orchestrated to push multiple agendas, is what I'm saying. Yeah, and exactly, Chica. And when have they ever released footage of an inmate being booked into a jail? And speaking of Truman Show, actually, I'm trying to remember when I watched that movie. If I know that I wasn't like I didn't solve it or anything like that. That's what was going to happen, but I remember the part where that whole scene where he finally figures it out, like that they're all doing the same route every morning, and they say, "Hey, how's it going?" And then like, all the cars are stopping at the same time. Kind of reminds me of like gang stalking, kind of similar, all taking the same route every day. But I don't think I had it like fully figured out. But then again, I was young and I wasn't woke. I don't like that saying. I'm woke, but that whole neighborhood that the Watts lived in totally reminds me of like Truman Show. Like all the neighbors are in on it, or at least on that block. Even sweet old Betty who goes to the gym every morning at 5 a.m., even she's in on it, unfortunately. And, the majority of people in the true crime community can't rack their heads around why nothing makes sense and why nothing adds up in this case. And at least I'm trying to give some sort of explanation or answers to those questions. And not, saying, oh, I this theory and this theory and this theory. Like, I don't know all the answers. I don't know every single answer and how they were able to pull it off exactly. But I don't need all that to know the truth about it. All I need to do is look at the patterns that they use every single time in these events. Exactly, Brighter Honesty. And the camera thing is how convenient that none of the cameras, they were either malfunctioning, weren't there at all, like Survey 319, because is the spaz living next door? Are you talking about Nate? Yeah. Yeah. How convenient that was the only one that worked, right? Exactly. Brighter Honesty. Yeah. So no cameras at Survey 319 because how conveniently that it was an old well and it was about to be plugged and abandoned. That's convenient. the camera at the Lazy Dog, it didn't record. It only showed live footage. Convenient. The Vivint wasn't working the whole time, and was and Shanann in the Discovery says, Chris, you need to get that fixed, and then it says that Chris was on the phone with Vivint for 20 minutes. But how do we know? How do we know that Chris was on the phone with Vivint for 20 minutes and they didn't just tell us that and write it down in text? How do we know? All I know, and some other people know, like Pride or Honesty, that it's rather convenient that there's hardly any actual footage that we need or video cameras at work. They didn't even bother to get the CCTV street cameras to verify that Chris even drove in that route that day. And the one neighbor that had a camera just so happened to have wasps all over the lens. So, how convenient. Didn't see anything there. The one neighbor. It's stuff like that where it's like, how many times does it have to happen for it to stop being coincidental and on purpose, more on purpose? Like, I don't know how people can make so many excuses for things when clearly, it's not coincidental. Yeah, they did release. Wait, are you being sarcastic again, Chris? I can't tell. I mean, I don't know, I can't tell. But if they did, I mean, yes, they did release the GPS coordinates, but that still doesn't prove anything. Maybe someone other than Chris drove to Survey 319. Does that mean that Chris really did it, or that there was really bodies in the truck? No. So I hope you're being sarcastic. And if you aren't, that's okay too. Hey, Miss Mensa. I've heard that actually quite a few times, Miss Mensa, about both Chris Kessinger and Shanann, how they look different in their pictures and older than what they claimed. Yeah, right, Michelle? Exactly. How convenient, and what are the odds that the most recorded city, like in the United States, probably if not the world, that has cameras everywhere you turn, there was no camera footage at all. How convenient. We're talking about Las Vegas casinos here, Oh, that's a huge issue I have, Miss Mensa, is Nicole Atkinson's 911 call. The fact that she doesn't even know, like, and people argue and say, well, she was upset, she was worried about her friend, so she didn't know, she couldn't think at the moment, so she didn't know what Shanann's age was. I'll give her that. I will admit, I will give her that. And give her the benefit of the doubt. But when the 911 operator says, oh, that's okay, can you just, or no, she says, when is her birthday or something? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Okay, that's okay. Can you just tell me her age? And she's like, I think she was like in their like late 20s, early 30s. I'm like, wait, rewind. What's that? Your friend, your Thrive friend, your friend that you have tons of pictures with, you go on trips all the time with, you have her code to her house, literally bawling your eyes out on your channel for the past 2.5 years or over 2.5 years, and you don't know if Shanann's in her 20s or 30s. That's kind of a wide range there. So again, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt about not knowing her age under the circumstances, or her birthday, but to not know her age, or even like maybe even a couple of years off. It's like, oh, she's probably between her, 20s and 40s. Like, what? She didn't say that, but how would she not know that? And then people have argued with me and said, oh, she wasn't really Shanann's friend. She was more of Sandy's friend. No. That's not what the narrative's telling us. The narrative is telling us that they were best friends. Babysat for them. Their kids played together. I'm sorry, but you should know your friend's age. If not, then I'm sorry, that makes you a bad friend, in my opinion. And I'm really surprised they didn't edit that out. But it's not enough to prove anything, right? It's not solid evidence. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to point it out. Hey, ADK. The manicure is huge, though, so don't miss it. No refrigerator art in the Watts house. Was there no refrigerator art? Yeah, that's a good point. Where's their drawings? I guess she could have been OCD and there's no toys laying around, but you're talking about a woman that had, or that we're told had several ailments, right? That she was dealing with. And just because Shanann said that Thrive, cured all those or treated all her illnesses, it doesn't make it true. It makes her a salesperson, right? Saleswoman. We have no idea what happens after the camera turns off. She could have crashed in a second, right? And she's like, oh, I'm so exhausted after she just got done saying that, she cleaned her house twice. It's a sales tactic. That makes more sense to me. But where's all the and I saw your comment, Miss Mensa, about the court officer in the sunglasses, because I did bring that up in a live stream a couple weeks ago, and I was trying to find the picture and I couldn't find it, and I just recently found it, so I was like, yes, found it. But yeah, I will get back to that in just a second. But where's, out of all the, and I don't want to admit it, but I did stalk Shanann's Facebook, right? Like the majority of us did. Where are all the pictures or videos of the girls opening presents on their birthdays? Where is the other Christmas videos of them opening Christmas presents? The only one that, as far as I know of, and I could be wrong, is that creepy Santa one. The very, it's hard to watch one. It gives you an uncomfortable feeling one. So where's them, like I said, Halloween, dressing up as Halloween? Where are all those family moments? Blowing out the birthday candles. The only one that we got, as far as I know, is the one of Cece shortly, her birthday shortly before the murders. That's the only one we have. We didn't even have any of the wedding photos until the Netflix thing came out, right? So why were those kept secret until then? Why wouldn't Shanann have her wedding photos all over Facebook? Yeah, no dance classes, no parks, no friends. Yeah, where's their friends? Exactly. I mean, yeah, granted, did Shanann have a lot of freaking videos and posts on Facebook, but where's all the normal family stuff? Like, it was mostly Thrive and, you know, some taking the girls to all their doctor's appointments. And about the court officer, that's a good point, Miss Mensa, is what kind of, like, that's not professional. Like, especially if you're like a uniformed job, wearing those white polka dot sunglasses on her head. Exactly. Very odd. I agree. Yeah, the neighbors didn't even know about him. I mean, I can't imagine that Shanann, if she's a salesperson or, you know, a decent one, she didn't go around to all her neighbors and introduce herself and go, hey, guess what? I sell Thrive, by the way, if you want to, I got some samples here. I mean, granted, yeah, there's like the internet now, but why wouldn't you use that opportunity to? Holy crap, it's been 2.5 hours? Yeah, okay, I gotta end this soon. I can tell, especially if my voice gets all raspy. I'm like, yep, Candace Old, exactly. No sense of urgency. And I'm not everybody, so I can't, you know, I can only speak for myself. But if I was that worried about my friend because of her, you know, how she was acting leading up to that day, right, or the night before, and if I was really, really worried about her, I would have probably broke a window, right? And said, hey, I'm sorry I broke your window, but you're my friend, and I was super worried that something might have happened to you and the girls, or that you were laying on the floor, and or you might have done something to yourself. I will pay for that window, but I had to make sure you were okay. But that's just me personally. Yeah, that's true too. Pride or honesty. That falls into, you know, Chris not asking for a warrant, just letting everybody in the house. And some will argue and say, oh, well, he didn't want to look guilty, but it doesn't matter. If you know anything about law enforcement and the government, you ask for a warrant, and you don't agree to a polygraph. You ask for a lawyer, and just so you know, he just let everybody in. Yeah, come on in. Sure, bring in the dogs. I have nothing to hide. I mean, we're talking about what we've been led to believe is a psychopathic murderer that killed his entire family with his bare hands, right? But yet he goes out of his way to do all this, but literally gives up after what, 2 days? Why go through all that trouble and just go, yep, okay, it was me, I did it. At least try a little bit. It's a whole part of the narrative, though. Just everything, you know, leads towards Chris, and he didn't ask for a lawyer, and then he confessed, and oh, case closed. Nothing to see here. Don't need to do any other investigating because he confessed. It's all convenient. And then we get the back of his head for the confession. Oh, great. Thanks, law enforcement. rather convenient, because so now we're not going to, even if we didn't have the back of his head, all the footage and photos in this case have all been downgraded. I mean, we're talking 2018. Those should be all high quality. I've seen interrogation videos from 1973 that were clearer than the Watts case, but it's done like that on purpose. So we can't see Duper's delight and, be able to look at his body or his, facial expressions. And body language. That's the word I was looking for. I agree as well with that, Miss Mensa, as far as the welfare check. She was, especially if you tell them that, she was her and her husband or significant other fighting. And not only that, but if she's pregnant and she just flew home, she's probably just tired. I'd say call me back if you don't hear from her in a few hours again or something, You usually have to have a pretty legitimate reason or idea or some sort of that to call in a welfare check. Not a couple hours later or a few hours later. Doesn't matter if her phone is her lifeline. Maybe she just wanted to sleep. So what if the girls missed school the first day? Big whoop. She could take them tomorrow. She's probably just tired. Needs to rest. You know what's funny, Chica, is there's and this is completely like conspiratorial and just something I noticed, but knowing how they like to tell us the truth and admit to what they're doing, in the Thayer's interview, which is also strange because everybody or the majority of people in these I always say everybody in these tragic events will immediately give interviews after supposedly experiencing like such like tragedy and just such a stressful situation, right? Why so quick to give an interview? Why so quick to talk about your kid, your child that's no longer around because of this event? Like, where do they find these people to do, and why interview children or students at the school? Like, leave them alone, right? If this was real life, leave them alone. They're children, they're kids, they're students. But they always have a few that they give, wherever they find them, they give interviews for. But for the Thayers and for, not Christina Meacham, what was her name? That lives in Arizona, allegedly. Cindy Duracier or whatever, Duracier. They both gave an news interview, the day of, same day that Shanann and the girls were allegedly, found at Serby. The day of. Now, everyone deals with death and tragedy and situations like that differently. And I know not everyone, but I wouldn't be even able to speak or even function if I just found out about my good friend and her kids. We're just, exhumed out of oil tanks in a shallow grave, right? But here's Cindy sporting her Thrive patch, her black label, right on her arm there. She can't even not promote Thrive for a 20-minute interview. Like, you can put it anywhere you want. So why not hide it for an interview for your good friend, right? But to do an interview on the exact day that you find this out is crazy to me. I mean, a couple of days maybe, like, but it doesn't, yeah. I mean, I would say it doesn't make sense to me, but it makes 100% sense to me. And then the Thayers, same day. And not only do they give an interview that same day, they do it in a park of all places, a park. It's all noisy and shit, and there's like people walking by and going, "Hey, you guys doing an interview? Huh?" Awkward laughing. The cameraman, I don't even know how that guy still has a job because he's all over the place. They like parks, by the way. Parkland, Parker. Who was that last name Parker? Someone had a last name Parker in one of these tragic events. I don't know, someone Parker. I think it was in maybe SH event. I don't know, but Nicole Kessinger did her first interview in the park. Like, what FBI? Like, really? Is that real life? Do they really go and interview a potential witness or possible suspect in a park with her daddy and her dog? Like, when I hear that interview, I picture like these FBI agents or whatever in those like beige colored like trench coats, you know, with like the sunglasses and like all undercover, but like really not undercover at all. With a tape recorder in their pocket, like, oh, we're gonna fool this witness or this suspect, and we're gonna get him. We're gonna meet him in the park. It's like so ridiculous. Like if I was on the jury, if it did go to trial, right, or for any case, and they played that interview of Kessinger in the park with all that racket and all that noise going on, I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? What am I supposed to do with this? Sounds like it's in your pocket, number one. The dog is freaking out because it wants to go run and play and chase rabbits or whatever they do. The audio is so low, I can't even understand. Like, that would never, ever happen. Like, you would not be able to use that in court. But what I was going to, so I got sidetracked there, but there's something interesting that was said in the Thayer's interview. So the reporter says something, and this isn't like word for word, but the reporter says something about Bella and Cece being like, you know, sweet and whatever. And he says something along the lines of, if I would have, he's like, I almost would have thought that they were yours. Like the Thayers, like Bella and Cece's being, and again, this is totally conspiratorial, but I found it like another one of those moments where I was like, that's really odd. and Amanda Thayer goes, yeah, they are. They're beautiful. I don't know. I just found that interesting. Again, not word for word, but Emily Parker. Yes. Thank you, Chica. Oh, and Robbie Parker. I agree, Mark. Yeah, that is odd. Yeah, that's weird too, baked cake. Yeah, we're going to go out of our way to accompany you and actually pick you up and take you to the station. Okay. Hey, Spacebound, did you all see interview with Chris Watts' prison friend and sister? I didn't see the, I don't know about the interview, but I've seen the circus on that one channel creators channel. Good point, Pride or Honesty, exactly. And then we don't know where everybody is once they're off Coonrod's body cam footage. Like, where's Nicole Atkinson? Where's Chris half the time? Where's Nicholas Atkinson? We only know what we see when they're on camera. Like, anything could be happening. They could be doing anything. Kind of like how the Shanann's purse ended up on the kitchen table when it was supposed to be in like the office, because they were off body camera footage, so it just appeared. Or Kunrad comes up the stairs like, oh, we found her phone, and Kunrad goes, oh shoot, and he just keeps walking by. It's like, oh, that wasn't the scene, Chris. That wasn't the scene. One thing I do have to agree on as far as MRB, that one mommy channel, I do agree with her as far as when she says that you have all these guests on your show and you claim them as them being legit and factual, and then you have the proof to back it up, and you never do. I have to agree with her on that one, but I don't agree with everything she says, obviously. Oh, and then, did you guys know that Nick Thayer is also his company is photography, or like a well, before, actually, when I looked him up before, it was him and Amanda had a their own photography company or business. But then now it says that he does some sort of production style photography. Interesting. Oh, and speaking of the house, Miss Mensa, I've looked up that Saratoga address, I don't know how many times, too many that I want to admit. And especially, as far as why the house hasn't been sold. And I was looking up the house for a different reason, and I think it was still on the first page results. I clicked on it, and it's all the like documentation of the foreclosure. But I'm like, how did this information not come up this easily? Or how did I not see this before with all the times that I've been searching that address? I don't know what any of it means, because I'm not a real estate agent and I'm not in the realty business, but I mean, some of it I do. Hey, Shanty, good to see you. Yeah, Google Maps hasn't been updated since 2012. Oh, and I'm going to do an overlay of Shanann's house, alleged house in North Carolina, with the deets, because I swear it's totally just photoshopped, because the whole setup, the street and everything, you just add a couple trees in, it's almost identical. There's no way that that's possible when one's in North Carolina and one's in Colorado. They're too exact. Oh yeah, thanks, Michelle. Yeah, everyone in chat is great. Usually, I hardly ever, thankfully, get any trolls or like fighting or arguing. It's nice. Like the minute it happens, I'm like, stop fighting, please don't fight. I just want everybody to get along. And maybe I spoke too soon. Yeah, right. Pride or honesty, and everything, all the interviews and statements by everyone. It just seems to all match up perfectly. They all seem to say the same exact thing. Exactly, mask of sanity, and that's a good point, because all those neighbors and that one neighbor that had the teenage boys, their faces should have been blurred out. The inside the home, if they go inside the home, it should be blurred out. Or any pictures on the wall, like Nate's baby picture, not Nate's baby picture, but the picture of the baby in Nate's house, that should have been blurred out. And yes, no redaction is huge. That's like one of the biggest red flags in this case, is the fact that no one's personal information was protected. And I'm not sure what you're getting at, Scarlett's email, exactly, but considering you put conspiracy in parentheses there, not parentheses, but yeah, then we don't even know if Jimbo was interviewed, which I'm assuming not. Jamie wasn't interviewed. Cindy wasn't interviewed. All she wrote was a letter. Sandy wasn't interviewed. She just wrote a letter. Bodies being identified over the phone, whether that's just would not be real life. No matter how much evidence leads towards it, you can't identify anyone over the phone by their hair color and if they're beautiful and in a pull-up diaper. Who was Chica Scarlett's email? Okay, no problem. That's why I said I think Michelle and myself spoke too soon, but that's okay. But for the most part, like I said, it is normally a good group of people in here. Great group of people. And I swear on the entire discovery, the only time Chris went shopping was Home Depot once. Yeah, exactly. Like, that seems like a lot of information, but then there's so much missing. Like, you want me to believe, right, that the only thing that Chris or Kessinger searched for was like a total of like, what, 10 things in a period of 6 weeks? Which they should have even gone even further back than that, but they didn't even bother to recover her text messages. So, my search history, and especially at their age as well, would be insane. It would be a lot of pages. Let's just say that. And who's to say, regardless if they're law enforcement or not, who's to say that it's not up to them to decide whether what's relevant or not. If they're going to be transparent and release this information, it's up to, they need to release everything. Obviously not everything. Like, of course I was going to say personal information or anything that, would protect their privacy, but they didn't bother to do that for anybody in the case. So, but I want to see everything. I don't care how long it takes me to read through it. I don't care how many pages it is. I want to see it all. I don't want you to cherry pick what you show us. Then I just thought of something else, but I can't remember now. What was it? Oh yeah, and there seems to be a lot of empaths in this case as well. Not a lot, but a few empaths, as far as Sandy saying, first of all, the Ruseks said that they loved Chris as a son, as like their actual son. He was an amazing father, amazing husband. Never, of course, went with the whole doesn't fit the profile thing. Everybody had nothing but good things to say about Chris. But then the minute everyone found out that he backed his truck into the damn driveway, oh, we knew he was guilty. Really? That's weird, because I'm pretty sure that you just got done saying a little bit, a few pages back in this discovery here, that you loved him like a son, and you can see him hurting a fly ever, and how great he was. But I'll tell you what, he backed that truck in, and he was guiltier than sin. I don't know why I just said it all country, but that's what happens on these live streams. So they say one thing, and then they say another. And then there's the part in the discovery where Sandy tells the cop that Chris is acting weird, and that she believes that, or that they need to, look at his GPS, because she believes that he's going to pour oil on them. Who goes from loved him as a son, great husband, never had a bad thing to say about him, to spot on about what happened, pretty much? That's the first thing that came to your mind, Sandy, was that you believe that Chris is going to pour oil on the bodies, or on them? And then you have Nicole Atkinson in her interview that says, well, if he did do this, or if he is guilty of, or did have a hand in this, then I would think that he would strangle Shanann. Why would that be the first thing that comes to Nicole Atkinson's mind? Out of all the things, you believe that he would strangle her? Again, either they were just really lucky, or they're impasse, or something else is going on. Then you have the Lindstrom boy. Don't get me started on that interview with all the chaos and noise going around. Can you imagine playing that interview for a jury? The kid going, ah, like, how rude. And then, the officer doesn't, or was it, the Kobach? He should have said, hey, I don't mean to be rude or whatever, but do you think that this is like, we're talking about, 3.5 missing people here. So it's kind of a big deal, right? It's kind of a serious situation. Do you think that maybe you could remove your kids from the room so that I can do a proper interview here without all this distraction? Would that be okay? Maybe turn your TV off? But no, he doesn't say anything, because it's just all noise. It just makes it even more annoying for us when we're listening to it. Can you imagine any of the other officers involved, or detectives involved in the case? He brings that interview and go, here you go, Sergeant. And then they play that back. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? All I hear is a kid like talking and screaming. And the parents aren't any better. The Lindstroms, they're just as noisy as the dang kids. The dang kids. I have nothing against kids, but it's kind of like how there's no such thing as a bad dog. It's the owner that's the problem, right? It's the owner's fault. So it's like there's no such thing as a bad kid, unless they're like, from the Omen or something, but and possessed. But there's no such thing as a bad kid. It's a bad parent, right? But so my point was, the Lindstrom boy on the audio says, I don't know why, but I just pictured them in a hole. I picture them in a door hole. I don't know why. So do we have another empath child? Or do we have an empath child and 2 adult empaths that just so happened to just guess or know what happened? Oil, strangling, hole. How many times does something like that have to happen for it not to be coincidental? I just picture them in a door hole. I don't know why, though. And so I was going to go into like cognitive dissonance and, ad hominems and the whole conspiracy theorist term that's BS. But since it's already been, I don't know, 3 hours, I'll probably say that for next time. But cognitive dissonance is one of the main things that's going on as far as what's going on with this case. So. If you guys notice, for the past, I don't know, like more recently with my live streams, I've been more myself, I guess, as far as like my sarcasm and humor. But I try not to be like that, just because I do take this case really seriously, and as far as like exposing the truth about it. And of course, I don't ever want to like offend anyone, but it sucks being serious all the time. So, but but real quick about the cognitive dissonance thing. If I can say this, I'm trying to find a way to say, what, I don't even care, right? Whatever, give me a strike. Try to silence me, whatever. When I tell someone my theory, right, or if I'm talking about it, at the beginning, like, when I would say it, I'm thinking they'll be fine with it, right? Because they will be, happy probably. They would be relieved to know that there is a possibility that they could be alive, right? Because I don't know how many times I've heard someone say, I wish that this didn't happen. I wish that they were still here with us today. I wish Shanann never went in that house. And crying over the victims of this case, and letting it even affect some people's lives. It just depends on whether they're affected by tragedy and or whatever more than other people, but it has affected some people that much, right? But yeah, I just hear time and time again, I wish they were still here. How could this happen? I wish, we should go back in time. So here I am thinking that they're going to be happy to know that could be a possibility. Wrongo. It's the complete opposite. You get attacked. You get called a conspiracy theorist. They say that's ridiculous. There's no way that that's a possibility, right? Well, that's where the whole cognitive dissonance comes in. They would, it doesn't matter how much evidence you show them or how much proof, or it just doesn't matter. They will come up with every reason that they can as to why that is not a possibility, right? Because they believe something for so long, and what this narrative has been saying and pushing for over 2.5 years. So to tell someone that they were duped, or try to sway their beliefs about something, is that cognitive dissonance thing. And I don't explain it that well, but Yeah, but and that's the thing. And I've thought about that pride or honesty, but there's different things or like several things as to why I came to the conclusion that I and I don't like to say it on YouTube because it's like it's in the guidelines. You're not allowed to say that, you know, no one passed. One, the 8-inch hole thing. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole when Cece was based, you know, says the official narrative. It's hard to go with, believe anything in the discovery, but it says that Cece was 10.5 inches at her widest point. So Bella was probably even bigger, more than likely. So and inside that 8-inch inlet is a lip, like a small little lip. So every bit counts, or you know, or matters when you're trying to fit something of a different, you know, shape into that's bigger as well into something that's small. Not only that, but there's no proof at all. There's no evidence. There's no autopsy photos. There's obviously we're not going to, you know, ask to exhume the bodies. But it's convenient that they were sealed. Due to the oil being inflammatory or whatever. But there's just no evidence to convince me. As well as all the other inconsistencies and the characteristics that point this to being a psyop. So. And that's the, you know, the unfortunate thing. If you do become like a public figure for whatever reason, like you're going to get scrutinized and people are going to figure out everything wrong with you. Right. I mean, it's unfortunate. But that's just what happens when you're made a public figure. But if they didn't want that to happen, then they wouldn't have left Shanann's Facebook account open. We don't want people talking about our daughter. Well, then shut her Facebook down. Shut it down. It's still up. And what are all these secret photos that no one else has? Why don't we see those? And also with the cognitive dissonance thing, if let's say even for like a little bit, they could see my theory as a possibility, right? That would mean that one, they would know they were duped. And two, by agreeing with me or whatever, that would mean that they would also have to admit that they were duped. Nobody likes to know that they've been duped, and a lot of people probably don't want to admit it. I, however, am different. I would rather say shame on you and say, well, that sucks. That's a shitty feeling that I was duped and lied to. But I'm not going to let them do it again. Instead of completely just ignoring it and staying in my bubble. But if you challenge someone else's beliefs, they don't like that. A lot of people. Oh, and that reminds me, I gotta write that down because there's a petition that I found on Nicholas Atkinson's Facebook. I was actually looking for Nick Thayer's, but Nicholas Atkinson's just happened to pop up, and one that I think was different from one I found a while ago. But there was a petition, and I'm trying to remember I'd have to look it up again, but the date of when the petition or the Facebook post was uploaded. But it was only like, we're talking maybe a few days after the 13th, already petitioning for that dude died to the result of the what is it called? Died as a result of pregnancy or whatever, termination of pregnancy. They were already pushing for that 5 days after, or something close to that. I don't know if exactly 5. And with these orchestrated events, that's one of those red flags. You'll notice that like immediately after or soon after, they are pushing for some sort of law to be passed before the autopsies are even done, before the narrative is complete, or for the case files to be out. They're already pushing some sort of law. That's a big red flag for these events. Hey, Callie. Good morning. Lauren Arnold, Shanann's friend, started a GoFundMe, but on Facebook. I don't know what they call it. When Shanann was barely missing for 24 hours, claiming that it was money for the Ruseks to get to Colorado for a plane ticket. It's like $160,000 they raised. She wasn't even missing for 24 hours. That's an expensive plane ticket. There's a Facebook post that Sandy replies to of Lauren Arnold's, saying something like, "Have you found my daughter yet?" or something. Like, why is Sandy even on Facebook? Like, having conversation about she might be missing. And then she says something along the lines of, "We'll send out a search party." What? How about get your ass up and get your ass on the first plane out? I don't care if you don't have the money or not. Like, if it were my daughter, I'd find a way. No excuses. But instead of doing that, you're on Facebook, on Lauren Arnold's Facebook, saying, "Send out a search party." Send out a search party. It boggles my mind. Yeah, well, with extra olives on their salad too, Mark. It adds up. Oh, it's raining. Lucky. I wish it was raining here. Yeah, Pride Honesty, she did. And I have a screenshot of it somewhere, and I'm sure it's probably still even up on Facebook. But yeah, send out a search party to find my daughter or something. On Frankie Jr., he has two pretty long posts on the 13th or the 14th. And he spelled Nico's name wrong. He spelled it Niko and Nico in one, and the other. Totally just pushing that narrative. Oh, okay. So one last thing before I end it. And then you have the Ruseks going on MRB's channel, right? Same thing that I was saying, talking about earlier. They want people to, they say, stop talking about the case. Case is closed. There's nothing else to talk about. Stop making money off of it. Even though not everyone is making money off of it. And again, even if they were, why aren't they going off after the mainstream media? Like Denver 7 and Dr. Phil and everybody else that's profited off of this case. But they're only going after social media. Why? Because they're pushing that agenda. Or they would be going after the mainstream media and everything else. And then they've been claiming for how long, the Ruseks? They've been claiming, Frankie's been claiming that they're getting a lawyer to take AD down, and everybody else that's talking apparently bad about Shan, to raise money for lawyers, but nothing's come from that. And now they're saying that they're raising money again for more lawyers. How much money do you need for a lawyer? If they were going to sue anybody, they would have done it by now. And then I just heard earlier, I don't know if it's true or not, but they are claiming to sue Google. But there goes that whole pointing the fingers at social media platforms, that they're not doing what they need to do on their platform to stop the harassment. If you don't want people talking about the case, stop showing up on social media, please. Victim or no victim, okay? Stop contradicting yourselves. And I'm saying it like I don't know what's going on, but I know what their motive is. But they are purposely stirring everyone up. And when they show their faces on another channel creator, a channel creator, by the way, who has 20 advertisements for that live stream that they were guests on, 20 advertisements in the first hour of that live stream. 20. That's more that's on regular television. And I thought that was a lot. 20 advertisements in the first hour. And here they are on that channel saying, stop profiting off the death. Stop profiting off the case. I'm like, are you not hearing yourself right now? I mean, you're literally saying, and here you're on a channel where they're profiting right now as you speak with super chats and a monetized channel off the deaths because they have you as a guest on. Are you like, do these people not know what they're saying? Obviously they do. But the majority of people won't call them out on it because they're victims. That's like the mindset that people have. And I always use this like Ted Bundy example, but it's probably not the best example. I'll try to think of a better one. But that's like, I've said before, what if Ted Bundy, maybe you guys can help me out with a better example, but to compare it to, but it's like if Ted Bundy was a victim. No, I don't believe that, Ms. Mensa, one bit. I don't. It's just to push their agenda. There's no proof of it either. But let's say for whatever reason, Ted Bundy, right? We all know who he is. If he was some sort of victim to something, whether it be murder or something in his life, and everyone considers him a victim, and then he goes and commits a bunch of murders, and then let's say people try to call him out on it, are they going to go, don't question Ted Bundy. Don't you dare accuse him of being a murderer. Megan, he is a victim. Right? Again, that might be a bad example, but it's just to make a point. Being a victim doesn't make you a good person or a saint or that you don't have any ulterior motives or that I'm just supposed to believe that everything you're saying is true because you're a victim. It unfortunately just makes you a victim. And it doesn't give you immunity or it doesn't make you invincible or untouchable to contradictions that you make. Okay, yeah, see, exactly. Chris said Bundy was a victim to porn. We're all victims at some point in our lives, right? For different reasons. And again, it might be a different, I could probably come up with a better example, but that's literally saying the same, like, to me, the same thing. If Bundy was coined as or seen as a victim, and then he goes and commits murders, if everyone's advocating for him for a year, poor Ted Bundy, he's a victim. He's trying to, to move on, and he's trying to, whatever. He's a victim. But then we hear that he murders these people, all these, innocent people, and you don't hear them going, don't question Ted Bundy's motives, or don't, how dare you accuse him of murder, even though there's a ton of evidence to point that he did murder these people, because he's a victim. No, that's ridiculous. It's again, it might not be the best example, but it's just the point I'm making. And I've brought this up many times, but if anybody tries to argue with me about the fact that they're victims, and they're going to lose, because the fact that the Ruseks literally went and made fun of someone who they have no idea who they've or what kind of trauma, or if they're a victim or not, and what they've been through in their life, if they're literally calling themselves victims and making fun of people that they have no idea what they've been through in their life, and encouraging these channel creators who are making and mocking fun of other people by saying, ha ha ha, that was so funny. Like, that made me laugh. It made my mom and I are dying laughing over here. That really made my day. Ha ha ha. This channel creator was literally mocking another channel creator, and the Ruseks are encouraging it. If you're a true victim, if you're a real victim, you would not behave that way. I don't care. And someone said to me the other day, well, they're hurting. Bullshit. Hurting or not, it's also been over 2.5 years. You do not make fun of someone and ridicule someone and laugh at the expense of others. But nope, they're victims. We have no idea who the Ruseks are, or any family. Even if, and I know that Miss Mensa has spoken to, Cindy and stuff, but that, it still doesn't change my theory. It still doesn't mean that I think that they're saints. I mean, for all we know, the Ruseks could be serial killers. How do we know? How do we really know? We know nothing about them except for what we've been told. That's the whole psychological thing, is if you're a victim, you're untouchable. Well, not to me. I'm going to call you out if you contradict yourself and if shit doesn't add up. So anyways, on that note, it's been over 3 hours. But I think this was a good live, and I appreciate you guys all being here. And I've been trying to, not repeat myself as much and go over some new things, but again, it would be easier if I could just come out and say exactly how I felt about this case. But I do still, I don't want to offend anybody, even though I know that I'm gonna have to offend some people if I don't want to. I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my time worrying about offending some people. So, but that's just my nature, and I feel like I naturally do it, and I hold back because of that reason. But I am trying to be more transparent and upfront about my theory. So, my next live, I don't know. I stream a lot on DLive, and sometimes twice a day, but I stream other content. I do talk watts, but I stream other content it's all random. I stream a lot because I'm always wanting to learn about new things, but I do stream a lot of videos that relate and have to do with this case, as far and other orchestrated events, as far as like the predictive programming goes, the symbolism that they put in plain sight that they don't hide. I play content from other experts, I guess you could say, that I've learned what I know from over the past years that talk about these events, that obviously I can't play on here because of copyright and because YouTube's lame. So, but my next live, I'm not sure. I would just say make sure that the bell is notification is. And I feel like one of those creators like, okay, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, ding. But no, really, because I've missed out on a lot of live streams because I didn't realize that the bell notification was hit or marked to personal, whatever that means. So you have to make sure it's on all or you won't get any notifications. So I would start there. But I kind of just do these whenever I can. But I'm on DLive a lot more than I'm on YouTube. So I'll put that link in the chat if you're interested. If anybody's interested in following me over there, it only takes a couple minutes. And over there, I can talk more freely and discuss my theory and other content related to this. So I appreciate you guys all being here, and I will put my DLive link into the chat. It's just another it's another streaming platform that a lot of other channels went to because of the censorship here on YouTube. But unfortunately, the censorship on DLive has already begun, but it's not as bad yet. So I want to take advantage of it while I still can. But it's just another streaming platform similar to YouTube, but the censorship just isn't as bad. And it takes a little getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's a good community. It's a good group of people, so for the most part. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here. And I did try to pay attention to the chat more, which I think was better today, so that's good. So, okay, bye. All right, bye, guys.